Hello and thank you for joining me, astrologer Patrick Arundell, for your in-depth monthly horoscope for December. Now, if you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. Please also check out my year 2021 special offer personal horoscope package. You can get the whole of year 21 and also the rest of year 2020 if you order this year. Plus you can get your character analysis, all based on your time, date and place of birth. This is going to give you searing insights. No two reports are the same. It's totally based on you, the individual. So please check that out beneath this video, and there is 30% off at this time. Hello Leo, and welcome to your December forecast. This is a month that you're really going to relish. After a lot of struggle and strain over the last couple of years, when things may have felt quite brittle or you may have felt quite hemmed in by circumstances, I really start to feel that you can regain your joie de vivre. It's that good. And the great news starts from the first day, because we have the sun in the sign of Sagittarius, which is a fire sign just like yours, of course, and this is your fifth solar house. This is very much about being playful, expressive, creative and sociable. But because of COVID, there could be some limitations on the ability to mix and mingle this December. But I think your enthusiasm for life is really going to be ignited in the most wonderful of ways. Now, the sun is augmented by a potent lunar eclipse which occurred on the last day of November, and that pours its energy into the first 2 weeks of this month. And that's very much about making decisions in terms of your time management. You can be a very popular person and quite a few people can want a piece of you, so you may find yourself juggling who and where you are in these first 2 weeks of the month. But also Mercury, the planet of communication, well, that has been in a more reserved part of your chart, and of course it did go through that retrograde, but it's now coming on the first day of this month into the glorious Sagittarius too. Now, Mercury here is good for being flirty. Your sense of humour can be really helped by Mercury in the fifth house. But it is true to say that Venus, the planet of love and affection, is still in a bit more of a reserved zone for the first 2 weeks of this month. So if you are lucky enough in your particular locality to have visitors for Christmas, you may be using the first 2 weeks of this month to finish off some kind of property upgrade, whether it's decorative, buying some new soft furnishings, or you're actually adapting where you're living in a physical way. But Venus will see you do this with a great deal of refinement, because you're going to want to make it as comfortable as possible for anyone who may be staying or visiting over the Christmas break. Now, it is also true to say from the 9th through to the 11th, Mars, the planet of drive, which of course was mischievously in conflict with those three planets in Capricorn and causing you a lot of tension from the 27th of July onwards. Well, Mars forges a great link with the North Node from the 9th through to the 11th. There could be somebody, perhaps somebody at a distance, that you can connect with, a friend, perhaps someone you haven't heard from for a while, or perhaps it could be somebody new coming into your situation, where it really lifts your spirits and gives you a sense of optimism. And also, in week 2 of this month, the sun in Sagittarius is linking with the fire sign located Aries in a brilliant trine. So although Mars was causing that mischief, now the sun in a wonderful 120-degree angle is really going to give you a rush of desire to get moving, create things, make things happen. Your willpower and determination are going to be awesome, but also well balanced. Now, we have an amazingly powerful solar eclipse on the 14th, and it's going to pour its energy into the first 5.5 months of 2021, which is going to give you so much more uplift than the constant tussle that went on between the energies of Cancer and Capricorn over the last 2.5 years, which has been very psychological, and it's probably taken quite a toll on your physical and emotional outlook, or even energy and vitality at times. But this fire solar eclipse is just glorious, especially in this link with Mars. It's that good. It's going to propel you forwards with such a lot of extra vigour. Now, on the 15th, Venus moves out of that area where it's been helping you. Make sure that your home is beautifully presented, or if you have been fortunate enough to entertain, perhaps in your home, play in mine host, but it moves into a much more sultry and much more alluring part of your situation, into Sagittarius as well, on the 15th. What a fabulous combination. The solar eclipse and also Venus together. And the solar eclipse is also linking into that energy of Mars. So I just feel there's going to be such a lot more enthusiasm washing around. And some of the worries and feeling hemmed in and feeling that everybody comes to you and just expects you to sort out what they need practically, perhaps not even with too much of a thank you. I think you're just going to be more outgoing, more dynamic. Yes, you may set firmer boundaries, but you're not going to be defensive about it. It's going to be more, okay, this is what you want, but this is what I want. More outgoing, less on the back foot, and that's something to really behold. Now, it is true that on the 17th, Saturn, the planet of restriction, which for you is in a tricky part of your situation because natally it's in your 7th house. So this is about relationships. So sometimes you find people who are a little bit different, perhaps even a bit wacky, like Aquarius people like me, a little challenging. But Saturn's going to be here for the next 2.25 years. Of course, it was here in Aquarius from the 22nd March to the 2nd of August, and it's coming back now for its next 2.5 year transit. So the test for you is going to be around relationships, but it can also be where the opportunities are located for you. When I do natal astrology with clients, it's amazing how the movement of Saturn, particularly over house cusp, really does tie in with big key changes. And often those changes are opportunities. We think of opportunities as being about Jupiter, but Saturn can trigger good stuff. So for example, if you're single, you will very possibly meet someone over the next 2.25 years who is a much more sincere and committed player, and just the type of life partner you might have really yearned for. But just because it's more serious doesn't mean to say it's not good. But of course, Saturn can push back, can be about boundaries, and if you have been too availing to other people's needs and not reminding them that you have needs too, Saturn can help you to reinforce those boundaries, be a bit firmer, and not be so hung up about it. But clearly Saturn could make you think very carefully about a relationship which is not so good for you. And with Jupiter joining with Saturn on the 19th into the sign of Aquarius, and them coming together on the winter solstice for the first time since 1405, it's that rare. We are going to see a new world order starting to evolve, and that new world order for you is very much about relationships. So if you have been someone who's tended to be a really quite ultra conventional person, or very welded to particular ways of doing things, or welded to particular relationships, this combination is asking you to take a step back, think again. Maybe there are people who are very different to you that have much more benefit to you, or many more qualities than you may have been conscious of before, and that journey is going to really step up in 2021. But also on the winter solstice, the Sun and Mercury move into Capricorn. Now this is the 6th house. You still have Pluto here, the planet of transformation, truth, and also sometimes things that can be hidden, and that is in conflict with Mars in the last 2 weeks of this month. So if there's still some lingering responsibility, obligation, or clamp on your ability to be a free spirit, there could still be some resentment there, and maybe that can make you feel a bit brittle. So over the Christmas period, Mercury being so close to the sun is kind of saying to you, try not to sweat the small stuff. Yes, you can be incredibly on the ball in anticipating everyone else's needs, getting all the food in, knowing what various people like and don't like, and that's a great gift of yours. But really, the planets are saying to you, this is your time to have fun, to be more self-expressive. So let somebody else do all the catering, the washing up. Delegate it. Get stuck in and play or dance or laugh if it's possible where you are, because the stars are giving you an awesome opportunity to do that. As the year comes to a close, we bring the curtain down on what has been such a tremendously bruising, difficult, loss-filled year for so many people. Loss of freedom of independence, loss of earnings, so many different complications this year. There is a full moon in that more psychological area of your situation, the sign of Cancer. And you could find yourself feeling incredibly sentimental as you celebrate the last year of this 2020. But I think it is going to be a new dawn for us all. But for you particularly, I think you are going to be fired up by all that Sagittarian energy, which is really asking you to re-embrace the individuality of your very core nature, the charisma that when you burn brightly, there is no one like a Leo that can pour goodness to them. And that's given an opportunity this month to be relit, to be reborn. And okay, there is that practical stuff at the end of the year. There may be a sense of melancholy in some way, thinking back over the previous 12 months, especially if you have lost anyone. But as you come into 2021, be assured there is really oceans of wonderful, vibrant energy to take you forwards. Please stay safe. I hope you do have as good a time as possible. Thank you so much for joining me. And for now, take care and goodbye.